Welcome back to our channel, your premier destination for the most explosive updates and deep dives into the glamorous, scandalous world of Los Angeles fashion. Today, we are unpacking a storyline so monumental, it promises to shatter the very foundations of two legendary dynasties. Grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let us explore the devastating twists awaiting our favorite characters. The atmosphere in Los Angeles has reached a boiling point with the corporate and personal wars between the Forrester and Spencer families escalating into a terrifying blood feud. Hope Logan Spencer has officially defected to Logan Creations, triggering a massive corporate war that has left Forrester Creations reeling. But the boardroom battles pale in comparison to the explosive, deeply personal tragedy unfolding among the younger generation. Will Spencer's life has completely imploded. Following a violent altercation at the bikini bar where he accidentally punched family patriarch Eric Forrester in the face, Will lost everything. Electra Forrester, horrified by the violence and the subsequent revelation of Will's intimate night on the couch with Melissa Dillon, permanently ended their relationship. She threw her necklace at him, moved out of the beach house, and sought refuge in the waiting arms of RJ Forrester, completely unaware that a biological time bomb was ticking within her. In the desperate aftermath of her shattered romance, Electra threw herself into a new relationship with RJ Forrester. It was a calculated attempt to move on, to erase the lingering, agonizing memories of Will's betrayal and the horrific image of her grandfather's bruised face. RJ, who had masterfully manipulated the bar fight by ducking Will's punch so that Eric would take the hit, played the role of the perfect, protective white knight. He offered Electra a safe harbor, shielding her from the chaotic, violent world of the Spencers. Electra leaned heavily on RJ, trying to convince herself that this safe, Forrester-approved romance was exactly what she needed to heal her broken heart. However, the human body has a way of revealing the truths the mind desperately tries to suppress. In the weeks following her bitter split from Will, Electra began to experience undeniable physical symptoms. The morning sickness that she initially brushed off as stress from the corporate war, the sudden dizzy spells in the design room, and the overwhelming, bone-deep fatigue could no longer be ignored. The reality of her situation came crashing down upon her in the sterile, marble-clad executive washroom of Forrester Creations. With trembling hands, Electra stared at a plastic pregnancy test, watching in absolute, paralyzing horror as the stark pink lines materialized. The psychological devastation of that moment cannot be overstated. Electra Forrester, the proud granddaughter of Eric Forrester, was pregnant with Will Spencer's child. She was carrying the biological heir of the man who had physically assaulted her grandfather, the man who had lied to her, the man who her entire family now viewed as a dangerous, unhinged monster. The timing was a cruel, twisted joke of fate. Just as she was beginning to build a new foundation with RJ, she was permanently, biologically tethered to the Spencer family. Electra's mind raced with terrifying scenarios. She knew exactly how the Forrester family would react to this news. Ridge Forrester had already gone on a rampage, issuing a brutal, uncompromising ultimatum that she must completely sever all ties with Will to save her career and her standing in the family. Eric Forrester, still nursing the physical and emotional wounds of Will's assault, had ruthlessly banished the Spencer heir from their lives. Electra was consumed by a suffocating fear that if her family discovered she was carrying a Spencer baby, they would view the child as a toxic infiltration of their bloodline. She was terrified they would pressure her into terminating the pregnancy or, worse, disown her completely, casting her out of the Forrester legacy, just as Brooke had callously disowned Katie. Driven by this paralyzing fear, Electra made a desperate, agonizing decision. She would keep the pregnancy a secret. She planned to hide her condition for as long as possible, desperately trying to formulate an escape plan or a way to handle the situation without triggering a family apocalypse. The burden of this monumental secret weighed heavily on her soul. Every smile she offered RJ, every design meeting she attended with Ridge and Eric felt like a massive, suffocating lie. She was living in a constant state of panic, terrified that a moment of nausea or a slip of the tongue would expose her dark reality. But secrets in the Forrester mansion have a notoriously short shelf life. The inevitable discovery occurred in the most mundane, yet catastrophic manner imaginable. During a quiet evening at the Forrester estate, a clumsy moment led to Electra's designer purse spilling its contents across the floor. As RJ knelt to help her gather her belongings, his hand brushed against a small, cylindrical object. Electra's heart stopped beating as she watched RJ pick up the positive pregnancy test. The air in the room grew thick, heavy with the impending explosion. Electra braced herself for the inevitable wrath. She expected RJ to scream, to throw the test in her face, to immediately march down the hall and expose her profound betrayal to Ridge and Eric. Instead, the reaction Electra received was far more chilling and psychologically complex than any scream could ever be. RJ did not explode in anger. He did not look at her with disgust. He stared at the two pink lines, a slow, calculating realization washing over his features. The gears in RJ's mind, the same mind that had so effortlessly spun the narrative of the bar fight to destroy Will, began to turn with ruthless precision. He looked up at Electra, his expression eerily calm, and delivered a proposal that would change the course of their lives forever. RJ offered to claim the child as his own. He looked Electra in the eyes and promised that he would stand by her side, not as a supportive friend, but as the father of her baby. He laid out a masterful, manipulative vision of the future. By claiming paternity, RJ would instantly legitimize the child within the Forrester dynasty. The baby would be born a true Forrester, shielded from the stigma of the Spencer name, protected by the immense wealth and power of Eric and Ridge. There would be no family outrage, no pressure to terminate, no risk of disownment. RJ was offering Electra the ultimate escape hatch, a way to keep her baby and her family intact. However, this extraordinary offer came with a devastating, non-negotiable condition. RJ's voice dropped to a deadly serious whisper as he outlined his terms. If he was going to claim this child, if he was going to protect Electra from the wrath of their family, she had to completely, permanently, and absolutely cut all contact with Will Spencer. There could be no secret phone calls, no lingering glances, no co-parenting arrangements. Will Spencer was to be eradicated from her life and the life of her child forever. RJ was using the unborn baby as the ultimate weapon to sever Electra's ties to his rival, ensuring that he would possess Electra entirely and permanently defeat Will. Electra was trapped in an agonizing emotional labyrinth. On one hand, RJ's proposal required her to participate in a monumental, unforgivable lie that would deny a father his child. On the other hand, it offered her the safety, security, and family acceptance she so desperately craved. Terrified of the alternative, and fiercely protective of her unborn baby's future, Electra made a heartbreaking choice. She agreed to RJ's dark bargain, sealing a pact built on deception that would set the stage for the most explosive conflict in Los Angeles history. The fragile facade could only hold for so long. The truth, as it always does, found its way into the light. Through a combination of lingering suspicions, a misplaced medical document, and the undeniable physical changes in Electra, the secret inevitably leaked. The moment Will Spencer discovered that Electra was pregnant, his entire world shattered and reformed in a matter of seconds. The crushing, drunken depression that had consumed him since the breakup evaporated, replaced by a visceral, primal shock. He was going to be a father. The woman he loved, the woman he had lost due to his own violent mistakes, was carrying his flesh and blood. But the joy of impending fatherhood was instantly annihilated by the horrifying realization of RJ's machinations. When Will learned that RJ Forrester was actively claiming paternity, that his arch-rival was planning to, raise his child as a Forrester and permanently erase him from the picture, Will went absolutely insane. The simmering resentment he held for RJ exploded into a fiery, uncontrollable rage. This was no longer just about losing a girlfriend. This was about the theft of his legacy, the kidnapping of his unborn child through corporate and psychological manipulation. Will stormed the Forrester Creations building, a one-man army fueled by desperate, furious paternal instinct. He demanded to see Electra, demanding the truth, demanding his rightful place as the father of her child, but RJ was waiting. Stepping up as the physical and legal barrier between Will and Electra, RJ smugly blocked his path. With a sickeningly calm demeanor, RJ looked Will in the eye and declared that the child was a Forrester, that Will had no rights, and that his violent history proved he was unfit to be anywhere near a family. Ray J's calculated cruelty pushed Will to the absolute brink of madness, resulting in a confrontation so volatile that security had to violently separate them. This deeply personal confrontation instantly escalated into a full-blown, cataclysmic war between the two most powerful families in the city. The moment Bill Spencer caught wind of the situation, the dynamic shifted from a lover's quarrel to a billionaire blood feud. Dollar Bill Spencer is many things, but he is fiercely, ruthlessly protective of his bloodline. The idea that a Forrester, especially the son of his eternal rival, Ridge, was attempting to steal his grandchild was the ultimate declaration of war. Bill immediately mobilized the full, terrifying might of Spencer Publications' legal team. Bill unleashed a barrage of legal hounds upon the Forrester family. He filed aggressive injunctions, demanded immediate court-ordered DNA testing, and threatened to drag the Forrester name through the mud in every media outlet he controlled. Bill made it abundantly clear to Ridge and Eric that he would burn Forrester Creations to the ground before he let them steal a Spencer heir. He backed Will completely, transforming his son's desperate heartbreak into a highly organized, ruthlessly funded legal crusade for full custody and paternal rights. On the opposing side, Ridge and Eric Forrester circled the wagons with equal ferocity. Ridge, already harboring a deep, venomous hatred for Will following the assault on Eric, viewed the pregnancy as a toxic Spencer infiltration. However, with RJ stepping up to claim the child, Ridge saw an opportunity to completely neutralize the Spencer threat. The Forrester patriarchs threw their immense wealth and legal resources behind RJ and Electra, vowing to fight the Spencers to the bitter end. They argued that Will's documented history of violence and instability made him a danger to the unborn child, positioning RJ as the stable, loving father figure the baby truly needed. Caught in the epicenter of this billionaire blood feud is Electra. Her desperate attempt to protect her baby and maintain peace has instead ignited the biggest, most destructive war Los Angeles has ever seen. She is completely trapped, heavily pregnant, and forced to watch as the two men who claim to love her tear each other apart in courtrooms and boardrooms. The psychological toll on Electra is devastating as she grapples with the immense guilt of her lie and the terrifying realization that her child will be born into a war zone. The battle lines are drawn, the lawyers are armed, and the ultimate fight for the next generation has begun, promising a saga of heartbreak, betrayal, and relentless drama that will forever alter the legacy of both the Forresters and the Spencers.